Hello, welcome to another video from Betfair Trading Community. Today we're going to do some live trading on the first half goal market. As ever, we'll talk about the theory, we'll talk about the strategy, and then we'll do the trade. And we're going to do the trade regardless, win or lose, we'll still go through it and I'll still explain the process behind it. So starting out with the theory, let's get into what the actual strategy is. We're going to be looking at first half goals today. There's a couple of matches about to kick off that I've got targeted as matches I want to trade, and I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to talk about some of the theory behind looking for a first half goal. So when you're looking for a first half goal as a Betfair trader, the key thing, I think, is to find games that you think are going to have goals later in the second half, which is something that this strategy takes advantage of. Why is that? Well, if you can get a match to be 0-0 at, say, 15 minutes, the first half goal odds will be a lot higher than they are at kickoff. And I'll show you the example of this if we get to 15 minutes in either of these games where it's still 0-0 and we enter a first half goal trade. But you want teams that score plenty of first half goals, and not only that, you want them to score them later on if possible. You want teams that get to 0-0 at 15 minutes and then score another goal. That's basically what you're looking for. The theory is that sometimes in football, teams take a while to warm up. So the first 10-15 minutes of a game can be quite slow, and then they can often explode and you will get a goal or two before half time, maybe even three. I've seen it happen plenty of times before half time. So that's what we're going to look for today. Now, the obvious downside with just backing a first half goal is that you're going to end up backing odds on nearly every time. There's no two ways about it. You know, the odds before kickoff are very short often, but they do get bigger after 15 minutes, as we will see. But you're still going to need a high strike rate. So you want something around 66%, something like that as your strike rate. You want to get odds around 1.5 or above. We'll see what odds we can get on the games we're trading today. They're around 1.2 something at kickoff. I'll show you the games markets actually here so you can see before the match starts, because they might start whilst I'm still explaining it to you, because they kick off in 5 minutes. But as you can see, both around the 1.2 mark. So let's see where we can get to at 15 minutes. But most importantly, why have I decided to trade these two games, and which games have I decided to trade? Well, you've kind of already seen, but I'm going to go through it with you on the software now. Now, if you've got sports trading software, then I'm going to show you how you can do this with your software. If you haven't, go over to betfairtradingcommunity.com. The website's at the bottom here. It's at the bottom of all the videos I do when I'm doing the live trading. And I really want you guys to go and check out the software because, and I'll show you the reason why as we get into it now, it will help you massively decide which games to trade and also give you the ability to further research those matches. And there's some key principles I'm going to look at here. So the filter I'm going to look at is just called first half goal after 15 minutes. This is a really popular strategy. Actually, this is one of the ones. We have 3 core strategies that we give out to new members. We ask you questions, and based on your answers, you'll get one of 3 strategies. Now, if you want the first half goal strategy and you haven't already had it, just say first half goal or put FHG in the comment in the video, and I will send this over to you. We have it on a sheet, so you can get access to that. Even if you're not a member, we can send you the strategy. Obviously, if you are a member, it's better because you can use it in the software and you'll be able to do all this great stuff. But if not, you'll still learn how to use the strategy and what criteria it's using. Because I'm not going to get too much into that today. This strategy focuses purely on looking for a goal after 15 minutes, hoping that the match is 0-0 before then. There's 2 matches about to kick off, and they're both in the Chinese Super League. Okay, so an early Sunday morning match, kind of good time for me to trade. You know, kids got them out doing something already. You know, it's not late in the evening where I'm getting tired. This is a good time of day to trade, so I'm going to look at these 2. I like the fact they're kicking off at the same time, so we can do a dual trade if both get to 0-0 at 15 minutes. Let's start with Shanghai Shenhua, okay, versus Dalian Yingbo. I know I've probably pronounced those horrifically. I'm sorry if you're Chinese, because I'm sure I have. But let's look at this match now. So the filter obviously gives us the selections based on our criteria. Okay, the filter gives us our selections based on a criteria, and I'll just show you. If you go to edit filter, you can see the criteria we use. Like I say, I can send you the document with this all on anyway, so if you want that, just say first half goal in the comments. But let's get back to it. It gives us a shortlist already, so we have got this shortlist of 8 matches today. Okay, fine. But what I like to do, and this is one of the key things I think a lot of traders don't do, they don't take that second step. So they just go, oh well, these are the 8 selections, bang. Hang on a minute. Let's just have a look and see if they really are matches we want to trade. I'm going to focus on these first 2 because these are the ones I'm going to trade now if they get to 0-0 at 15 minutes. If not, I might do one of the later matches, and if I do, I'll film that as well and show you. But let's get into these 2 games, and I'll show you what I want you to look for, because this is the theory. This is the training. So I've given you some theory. We're kind of moving into the training stage of the video now, and I really want you to be able to take this next step, because I feel like this next step really is what's going to separate you from the pack. If you want to be a really good Betfair trader, the way that's really worked for me is taking this next step, actually looking at the theory and then going, okay, but how can I train myself to make the best selections of the shortlist? Because you don't just want to take a short list like this and just trade everything blindly. It's fine to test it if you want to, but really what you want to do is dig a little deeper and find out, well, is this something I want to trade? Okay. As you can see automatically, this first match here, and if it's in blue, it means you've selected the match. Shanghai Shenhua match, first match we're going to look at. The 0-0s at half time, there's only been 1, okay? So, and there's quite, as you can see, quite a lot of matches here. Now, if we look at the percentages, it's only 10% of the games have been 0-0, okay? So that's really interesting, right? It means that a lot of the matches aren't 0-0, which tells us what? They have first half goals. These teams have first half goals when they've played their matches recently. And so we can expect a first half goal to happen today. There's around a 10% chance, probably a little bit higher than that. But even if you were to say, okay, let's just double it, 20%, you're still going to get value after 15 minutes if it's 0-0. Now, that's part of it. I like looking at the halftime scores. But the other thing I really like looking at here is goal times. Oh, this is a little beauty. Goal times is a really interesting stat to look at, because we want to get in at 15 minutes, okay? Now, 0 to 10, they hardly ever get any goals, okay? So we can say with some confidence there's probably not going to be a goal in the first 10 minutes. Now, there could be. It's not a problem, because, you know, if there's not, we just don't trade the match. We're not going to lose anything. We might be wrong on that. But what's interesting is, as you go further down here, 21 to 30 minutes, 13% of their goals come in that time frame. 31 to 45 minutes, 26%. So 39% of the goals are scored in that little slot there, okay, of the whole total goals they score in a match. Plus, you're going to get some of that 8%. So let's say from 15 to 20, because it's 11 to 20, we're not splitting from 15. So let's say 4%. Let's say 15 to 20 is 4%, right? We'll half it, just to be generous, okay? Let's say it's only 4%. That's still 43% of their goals are scored in that 30-minute time frame. Remember, there's 3 30-minute time frames in a match. We're getting nearly half the goals in that slot. So this looks like a tasty trade, right? They score a lot of first half goals. The other stat I like here, looking at the percentages, 49% of their goals are scored in the first half and only 51% in the second half. Now, usually that split is higher. Usually teams score less first half goals. And even though that's the case here, it's so marginal. 49%. It's as marginal as it could be. It's probably a 1-goal swing, right? So what that's telling us is that they do like to score in the first half. And if we look at the totals here, you can see the total goals that are scored in those periods, okay? 19, like I say, 1-goal swing, 19 goals to 20 goals, okay? So that's interesting. The stats are stacking up, saying that is a time period where goals are likely to be scored. Let's have a look at the second game, Beijing Guan versus Guangdu Jianyun, okay? And again, looking at the goal, we'll start with the goal times because we're on it already. 12% from 21 to 30 and 24% of their goals are scored between 31 and 45. Okay, that's huge, right? You don't often see that kind of figure in that slot, 24%. So again, you've got close to 40% of the goals coming in this time frame. Like I say, there's 3 time frames overall. Not quite as strong, this one, not quite, but still, I think, a decent shout. But let's have a look at the halftime scores. And again, it's 10% on the 0-0. So again, this is telling us they get a goal in the first half. Now, the key for us is, can we get the goal at the right time, or can we get the match that does have the goal in the first half? So that's kind of the training I want you to do behind it, where you take that second step, okay? What I'll try and do is I'll try and get a matchup that interests me less. So let's have a look at this Meowby game, and then goal times. And we can see here that this game, 0 to 10, there's quite a lot of goals scored, 13%. But then between 10 and 30, there's not a ton of goals scored. So if I was going to trade this Meowby game, I might actually go in at 30 minutes, where there's 27% of the goals scored. Or I might even use Ryan's split stake on this match, where he backs over 1.5 goals in the full-time market at 30 minutes. And then if there's not a goal, top up at 50 minutes. Because again, look how many goals are scored between 50 and 60 minutes. Okay, 17% of the goals. So that is good. And there's also this half 1, half 2 split again. So this would still be a decent first half goal trade potentially. But you could get in at 30 minutes here and you wouldn't potentially be losing out on much. And you would get a very good price. Now, of course, they could still score between 11 and 30 minutes. This is the thing with predicting and Betfair trading, right? We're never saying this can't happen. You know, we're never saying, oh, there definitely won't be. Look, they only score 3% of their goals between 11 and 20, so there definitely won't be a goal between that period. We're never saying that. That's not what sports betting and sports trading is about. So many people get confused on this, and they think, oh, well, if that says that, it means it's definitely going to happen. No. But it's about predicting. It's about going, we think this happens more often than the odds are telling us they will. And that's where value comes from, right? That's where the value comes from, and that's potentially where the value on these 2 trades is going to come from. I've got Bet365 up for these games. They've kicked off both. Well, this one's suspended already, so there might have been a goal. Hopefully we can get at least one of them to 15 minutes without a goal. About 6 minutes in so far. So let's have a look. Yeah, this one's suspended. The other one, 1.25. Like I said, it started around the 1.2 mark. Odds already going up a little bit, but not that much. Be interested to see what odds we get here. I'm always hoping for around sound like Jonathan Ross then, around 1.5. But the problem is, this is quite short and not moving a ton. Maybe it only gets to 1.4. I don't know. We'll see in a few minutes, and I'll come back when we're ready to trade if there's not a goal in each game before that. Okay, so we got to 15 minutes. We got to around the 1.4 we were thinking of. Let's just use usual stakes. Again, there's no reason to go heavy here. When you're starting out as a trader especially, small stakes will do. Only ever use an amount you're comfortable to lose. We should get that match pretty easily. Let's look on this one. I want to get at least 1.4. Again, I want to get around 1.5 at least on average on these markets, so this is a bit lower. I wouldn't go below 1.4 on this. I think this should get matched pretty easily here. As you can see, let's see if we got that matched. Okay, just a little bit left to get matched there, and this one's been matched. Okay, cool. So just looking at the games themselves, you can see 3 shots on target in this one. 1 shot on target, but 3 shots overall. So fairly lively for early in the game. And then this one's had 6 shots and 2 on target. So a pretty nice start there for these. Obviously, we're now just hoping there's a goal in the first half. And obviously, if there's not, we lose the stake. Now, one thing you could possibly do on these trades is take your money out. Say it gets to like 40 minutes and it looks like the game's gone dead. You might want to take a loss on the trade. but you will be taking a substantial loss on the stake percentage. So it's kind of debatable. It's probably, I'd probably say you're better off staying in overall. It's probably a marginal play percentage wise, but we do see quite a lot of goals towards the end of first halves, especially nowadays where refs are starting to add on more time in the first half. When I was watching one yesterday, there wasn't tons of delays, and I think they added 6 minutes in the Inter Milan Napoli game in the first half, which, being in the Serie A 2 or 3 years ago would have been unheard of. So again, the market's adapting a little bit to this first half reality. You need to adapt as well and realise, actually, I might have more time here left in this half than we think. But yeah, let's see what happens with the trades. Okay, so happy days. We've got a goal in the Beijing-Guan game already. As expected, let's hope we can get the other goal over the line. If not, we're looking around, 60% loss on one of us overall on a stake. So yeah, we do want the other goal obviously, but not the end of the world if this doesn't go in. We'd be looking at kind of a medium loss. Looks like we got our goal in both games now. You can see Beijing Guan's been settled as a winner. I'll just wait till it's settled as a winner to confirm that, then we'll have a little brief conclusion on the trade and talk about the process of it. Okay, so settled as a winner. As you can see, both trades won, and won very quickly actually, within 10 minutes. What we expected though, right? Because we looked at the stats, we looked at what was happening in their matches historically, and if we go back to this Beijing Guan game, you can see plenty of goals scored between 21 and 30. Again, plenty of goals scored in that slot. In fact, we knew if it went to 30 minutes, we still had a really good chance. That's the thing with trades like this. If you can sit on stats, get a short list like this first half goal after 15 minutes strategy does, and then take that next step. And that's what I really want you to take away from this video. Forget whether the trade's won or anything like that. The key piece of information is that you need to then further research the trade, and we did that. We used the software, we used it massively to our advantage here, and we could see there's a huge chance of a first half goal. Now, the only small caveat I have with these two trades, I didn't love the odds. I'd loved it if they were closer to 1.5. Now, you could say, well, you could have easily waited till 20 minutes on these trades, and I'm just checking. I'm not sure when. I wouldn't have actually got the first one in. So that's a difficult thing. You have to kind of live by the strategy, and if you want to get in at 20 minutes, you've got to do that consistently. Whereas with this strategy, we knew after 15 minutes there's probably going to be a goal, and if it's 0-0, and you don't want to wait any longer. I mean, you looked at that Beijing Guan game, and if you look at the stats just on Bet365, the free stats that you can see here, 5 shots already, 4 shots for the other team, 9 shots. We knew there was going to be a goal, and we knew it's probably going to come pretty quickly. So again, it's not necessarily one you wanted to hold, but like I say, I do like to get around at least 1.5 average odds on these. I would never go below 1.4. So as you saw, anything that's below 1.4, if it's close, you can wait and just take 1.4. Or if it's, let's say at 15 minutes it's 1.3. It might be a situation you just leave it. You might come back at 30 minutes and have another look, and if it's still 0-0, you go, okay, maybe I'll go for this. I like doing videos like this, by the way. I like doing, because we've had 2 trades here, same strategy, concurrently, running together. So you can see it live, you can see the thought process, you can see what goes through my head, you can see, well, why did he make that trade? Why did he enter? And why did he take those odds? Why was he okay taking those odds? So yeah, that's the trade in a nutshell. Obviously it went to plan today. Not every trade's going to win. That's not how Betfair trading works, or every bet's going to win. I call these trades, even though there's kind of some debate, is it just straight betting? Yes, it's straight betting in the sense you're just placing the bet, but you're also trading in the sense that you're entering after 15 minutes. Back before Betfair, you couldn't have done this. Bookies didn't, there was no such thing as in-play betting. So, I see it more as a trade. You're getting it at a different point, and you're taking odds that are bigger than they should be. And there's not really huge value in taking a loss in these situations, because you do get so many goals later on in the half. but you can call it what you want and you can do what you want as a trader. That's the beautiful thing about Betfair Trading. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But yeah, there's a good bit of training on the first half gold market. Hopefully this has helped you. If you want this strategy, loads of people have it and loads of people love it. Just say first half gold in the comments and I will give it to you. Absolutely free of charge. And if you remember, and if you want it, tell me. And I'll tell you what, I'll even put it in your software for you. How about that? I will put it in your software so it goes straight into your filters and you have that strategy for you every single day. How about that? That sounds good, right? If you haven't checked out betfairtradingcommunity.com, go and check us out. There's a reason we've been the #1 training service for Betfair traders for the past decade. And you know, I'm just so proud of what's happened. We've just passed, by the way, 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. Really, really proud to have done that. And really proud of you guys, because we couldn't have done it without you. We never in a million years thought, you know, 3 guys who were just good at Betfair trading, who started a training company 10 years ago, would have be able to train, you know, thousands of Betfair traders over the years. And you know, I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love what I do. I love being a part of this. You can probably tell that by the fact that, you know, we try and do a video a week on this channel, if not 2. We give it all out for free on these videos, as you know, and we just love helping you guys. If we can make you better Betfair traders, then that is job done. That is job achieved. And if you aren't a better Betfair trader, if you haven't become a better Betfair trader, then get in touch with us. We would love to help you with your Betfair trading. But anyway, the best is yet to come. I'm so excited. We've got something potentially next month. We have got something huge happening, so I'm so excited about that. But I won't go into any spoilers. I don't want to get accused of ruining things and causing spoilers. But I hope you have a great week, everyone, and I hope you make some money trading the first half gold market on Betfair. Let's go!